me check the
Okay.
thing. Let me check the thing. I feel like I'm going to analyze this. Right? The first thing or the second thing?
The first thing or the second thing, you know.
The thing, the guy, what guy? No, the guy. God, I love watching comedies like that when
I need to watch that again. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that Analyze This was hilarious.
Yeah.
What I do is I watch clips. I watch clips on YouTube, and I love the one where they go to the big meeting at the end, and Billy Crystal, and he slaps Jelly in the face.
That's the one. Consigliere. Wow.
You want a fresh one? Yeah. Billy Crystal's funny.
Oh, he's
okay.
Good.
Let's see what we got here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
We're slow coming in. We're late starting. It's my fault. I had to go down for a quick meditation, and it turned into a snoring episode. But I always set my alarm. And the funny thing is, I didn't hear it, and I came to at 5 minutes till.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we got 17 people in the house. Diane Richards, Tom Whitebeard, Val Franklin, Laurel Gale, Tasmania, Mary Cooper's here, Allison Clausen, Sonia Sandoval, 20 people counting, Julia Capel. I miss these names up bad. So, yeah, if these shows resonate with you, please share, because we have 4 today. This is our 3rd one, and we have 6 tomorrow, and 4 the day after, and 5 the day after that. And so the more we do this, the more Facebook's algorithms tend to suppress us. So if you could just share to your page or one group or something, that'd be really cool. Thank you for your continued love and support and contributions. I'm on today for the 2nd time with a homegirl here in Kauai. Here in Kauai, yeah. We did a show 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I live right around the corner, which, I mean, go figure. There's only I don't know how many, few thousand people that are on this island.
65,000.
65,000. Yeah, and then me and Morgan met you for breakfast. That was cool. We spent a couple
From Waffles.
there.
I had the Elvis waffle.
I know, man. God, I've been eating like a horse ever since she left. I've been eating. I've been like wearing this little market out up here by the Kauai Athletics.
Oh, yeah.
I go over there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man, and snacks.
The Menahuni.
Yeah. Menahuni, yeah. Yeah, they got good food. The Loco Moco.
Oh, bento. The Loco Moco is the best.
Loco Moco bento. I don't even know what the hell. I don't know what I'm eating, but it's been getting me through.
It tastes good.
I know. So we connected pre-March. We would have had to probably just a few days before the end of the month. Yeah, because I cratered for 2 days for the first time in a long time. I had to like cancel like 6 shows. I've just got them now rescheduled, but God, I couldn't do it, man. We were like having separation anxiety, and then she went through something, and I went through something. Yeah, but we got through it. I think a lot of it had to do with what's been going on since March 1st. Right up to today.
Well, the energy has definitely shifted. Like there's a big shift.
Just no shift.
No shift, man. No, I'm not shifting you, man. Hell no, man. I wouldn't do that.
This is how we get past the censors. No, but for real. I mean, God, yesterday in particular was like, I don't know. It was just like I think this it was Wednesday, Monday. I had some type of energy enter my space over here, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't want to talk to you right now, but I'll talk to you, and I'll figure out who you are later." Then last night I went outside, and there was like, I called Morgan and told her, so like, there's all these waves, like particle waves, and they're not going away. And I'm looking at them, going, "What?" And then I walked out to this little pasture next door, and all of a sudden I can see the energetic bodies of all these beings around me. And I'm just standing there going, okay, what's up, man? You know, and they're like, look over here, there's a portal. And I'm looking between these 2 trees, and sure enough, I see all this stuff. And then I start hearing like a heavy body in the creek, you know, because there's not a lot of big animals over here, right?
No.
So I hear this heavy body moving around. I'm thinking, okay, what the F is this? Okay. And I was like, all right, so what is it? And they're like, well, you asked for this. And I said, yeah, I guess I did. I said, okay, let's resume this a little bit later. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, what's your experience been like?
I had the same experience. I had an experience where I just felt, well, one, because I'm going to Egypt. So I have compounded like Egypt, the container of Egypt is upon me, as well as the shifting energy that's in the, I would say, the collective. And I feel like there's the sense that I get, especially from connecting to Mother Kauai and connecting to nature here, is that, so there's a trail. I'll tell you the story. There's a trail, the Kailua Ridge Trail, and I love that trail. And it's a bridge between two worlds, because it's a trail that's close to the center of the island trail, but you're walking on it, and like, so Mount Waialeale is on the left side, and on the right side, if you're going up, is you could see the ocean sometimes. So you're on a bridge between more populated human consciousness and then more of nature, just nature intelligence. And I sat with one of the trees, and because the tree called me over, and I feel like the one thing I have to say is, if you're going to connect to a tree, you need to ask permission of the tree first. It's really important because of how connected they are to the earth, how connected they are to one another. And sometimes they're doing work and it's not really appropriate for them to help you at that moment. So I always check in to ask. But I sat with the tree, and it was like a grandmother tree. And she basically said to me, and this was the most potent thing I probably have ever had nature say to me, is, if you want me to be real, then I'm real. And so what I'm understanding is that the reality is shifting, right? That this consciousness that's unseen is becoming more seen.
Yes.
To those who are willing to see it. And to those that are willing to anchor it into this reality, into this dimension.
Yeah.
And those few words were just so potent and so powerful. I didn't need more than that to understand what's happening, and that we're being, at this time, tasked with being very conscious of what our thoughts are creating.
When did this happen to you? Was it the last few days?
Yeah, well, that was a few weeks ago. But like the kind of going like down and understanding.
I have gotten, and I talked about this last week, but so over here next door, the land has been talking to me, which is not out of the ordinary. And I'm glad you told me that about the trees, because the trees was the first thing I ever really connected to, and I've never asked permission. I don't know. I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna at least check in, because I've not check in like I would with a person. You know, does that make sense? I just know they're there, and that's what happened last night. This place next door has been speaking to me, so I can sit on the balcony, I can see it, I can walk over there.
Yeah.
And I walked over there like 3 or 4 nights ago, and there's all these trees and shrubs along the creek, the ravine, right? And this one tree jumped out, like literally jumped out in front of him, had this weird off-planet green, and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And then I looked to my left, and there was a patch of an opening in a pasture. It had the same color, and it said, "Hey, I'm the same consciousness as the tree, and we want to talk to you." And I'm like, "Whoa!" But it was like the island. It was the mother island. It was the mother earth. It was these trees. The trees eventually show me, when you look between us, this is a portal. This is all a portal. But when you look through here, you have privy to virtually anything. And that's where that sound was coming last night. So, and other people have come on talking about having a clearer or more clarity or a more clear line of communication with whatever face of the universe that they're interacting with.
Yeah. Part of it is one of the reasons I give that caveat about permission is because I see a lot of people posting lately, Taoists say, go connect with a tree to heal yourself. And I'm like, wait a second, wait. Because the other part of what I'm understanding is if I am to take it that I'm treating nature as real, I wouldn't just go up to a person and expect them to heal me and expect them to hug me. So
that's true. That's true.
So there's this I would say level of honor where I'm saying I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. And I'm getting that's a very important thing to understand, especially if we are, these curious explorers of consciousness. We want to make sure that that we're honoring the consciousness we're connecting to.
Yeah.
Because
for sure,
yeah. And, because you have that connection with the Squatch, as I like to call them, trees you're going to be more connected to trees just because that's their route of travel. That's the way, they're very connected to trees.
I'll tell you what's also, I'm starting to see, and I've seen it before, but not like some people. Like I've seen it, the fairies and the, the water nymphs and the elves and some other things that I can't really put my finger on. But so I've seen them. In fact, I saw them when I first got here. I saw them in a cave over.
Oh, in the Makawahi cave?
No, I was in Anini Beach. And the second day I was here, and I walked down because my friend lived a 5-minute walk. I walked down to this lagoon, this isolated lagoon. I'm like, oh my God, I just landed in heaven. And I go over to the edge of what would be the mountain where it comes to the lagoon.
Yeah.
And there was a cave. There was a freaking cave, and it had this is going back to what I was saying, but I saw all these colors. I saw like fairies. I didn't see everything too clear. I ended up having this merging with reptilian energy. It was basically saying, this is a portal. Here's a reptilian. This is the focus of the day. What are you going to do? And I'm like, I just opened my heart and said, okay, and so that was it. I went back the next day or the day later. It wasn't there.
No.
But yesterday I started to see, I keep seeing things like moving and I looked down into the ravine and I could see, not here, not yet, but like almost there, I could see the fairies and I could see some other things moving around. I'm like, okay, this is getting interesting now. And I heard something too. I heard something like, because I was really like connecting to the trees and to the land, and they're like, we're the keepers. Like we're the spiritual keepers of the trees or I don't know, something like that. Does that make sense?
Of course, because like one of my things, and this is something that's opening for me and developing for me now, which is just being here and connecting. Nature's asking me to give it a voice. It's asking me to talk about what it is like to a keeper of nature, right? And I look at it as like a guardian, and the guardian energy is what maintains the integrity of it. It's what maintains the integrity of the codes of the plant, of how it's built, how it's, how it's expressed in the world. And so there was always this kind of keeper or guardian. And so, that's this whole thing with like, there's this deep level of honor, like that needs to be, I feel like it's beckoning us to have that. It's like, if you're going to go into the realm of if you're going to go into another realm, right? This is what I'm noticing. Some people are just taking their consciousness and running into another realm. Now, when you go to the gate,
that's a good way to get your bitch slapped, isn't it?
That's right. And a lot of people don't know that they're not, you could be connecting, especially if you're working with nature, you could be connecting to a trickster. So what you really want is to connect to whoever is the guardian of that realm and see if it's appropriate for you to even be there. And maybe you just connect with a guardian. Maybe you don't need to go in there. So part of it is, there's this, there's this for me, it's like, this is a level of honor that we need to all have for one another, you know, especially everything. And in the realm of energy healing, when I see people sending energy healing to people without their consent, I look at it like, I treat the unseen just as I do the seen, because I know what happens when you don't do that.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So then here you are. That's like, if you're sending me energy healing, let's say I'm working on a client. While I'm working on a client, so and some people, when they first open up their third eye, they don't know how to regulate it. They're like all over the place looking in your field because they're not stable there yet. So to me, it's like, I wouldn't go up to someone that I didn't know without introducing myself, without asking them, can I touch you? Mm-hmm. So yeah. I feel this is a really important thing to start realizing, is we just need to ask permission. It's a way of honoring. And and the other thing I see is, like, I see people talking about the earth in a way where it's a victim and it can't heal itself. And actually, then you're seeing the earth as a victim. The earth is not a victim. Right. We can certainly make choices to help the earth. And if we connect to the earth, then we can ask, what can we do? But if you're just like, stop, so there's a lot in this like conversation.
I get that.
I feel like
No, I get that. In fact, I was talking to Morgan a couple mornings ago, and I said, what's going on? We're like, oh my God, this thing's moving fast. And I said to her, because I think we've all been able to, like, get your phone out, you're picking up people's energy, right?
Yeah.
But a couple of days ago, and I've had flashes of this before, but this stayed. So I was seeing the energy of the person, or maybe it was me and the person, or I don't know, but I was seeing it crystal clear. And I said, what is that? Am I stepping into their space? And then she started telling me, well, that's a tricky thing. I went up against that years ago, and I've heard other people talk about it. Somebody talked about it today. They talked about, I always ask permission. I ask permission in all dimensions. Can I work with this person or whatever? But you're right. I think that what's happening is, because more and more people and energy is supporting it, they're like an energetic super ball with eyes and ears bouncing around all over the place, with shining light.
Yeah, and they don't mean harm. I mean, most of the time, people are well intentioned, but they think you need healing, or they think you need this. They think they're going to save you, and it's like, why don't you talk to me first? Why don't you ask me first before you? I've had experiences, especially because I had a hands-on practice. I was working on a client, and I felt a big pendulum over my head, and I had to message someone, and I said, "Are you asking questions about me with a pendulum, about my energy?" And they were like, yes. I'm like, you have no permission to do that. And I'm in the middle of a session with another client.
Well, I bet that's the last time they did that.
Oh, it was, yeah. Like, I was like, what is going on here? And part of it, I feel like the way I feel it is like, there's this level of decorum and honor. And I feel the fairies, like, they get so excited when I talk about this. Like, I see it like this. It increases your magical potency as a person when you do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I think because if you look at the energy, of, regardless of who did what, who hid what, who was in control, that the whole perception of the human, because in the universe, everyone's got to do it themselves, right? So this species has got to do it itself. No one's going to do it for us. But this perception of our recklessness, belligerence, arrogance. I mean, I don't think it's. I think it's pretty common knowledge that the elementals signed off on this a long time ago and checked out until we came back and had enough of a consciousness to be able to be worthy of their assistance, But I guess what I'm saying is we have this self-respect and self-love quotient that's rising. It's parlaying into the collective souls that we experience this with. But it goes further than that. It's the whole universe, and that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're gonna walk into a realm. That's like, I've been all over the country in different hoods, and I don't care what, good block, bad block,
yeah,
Puerto Rican block,
doesn't matter.
Asian block. You need to, you got to have respect. And I don't see why the universe wouldn't work any differently, right?
No, it doesn't. It has a very simple operating system, and people are complicating it. That's what I'm starting to see is that a lot of people, even channels, don't understand the basic order or how the universe is structured, and because of that, it affects how they see everything they receive. So, and we're not taught, like, we're, that basic order is trying to be obscured by, from us. Because if we can understand that, then we can understand a lot of things. And the way I haven't did a post I don't know, maybe last week, about we're part of the way we're being manipulated is we're in a consumer verse, and people think we're at the top of the food chain, but we're not.
I know.
And so so basically, like, if we want to reverse that or get out of that system, or I'm calling it an ecosystem of consumerism, then we need to be conscious of how we consume, what we consume. And like, look, like, I eat meat because my body requires it. But I don't think that I don't honor where the meat came from. Like, so that's my way of being conscious and offering something to the deva of that, if it's a cow or whatever it is I'm eating. Yeah. And it's just the way my body is right now. I think the future human may be able to do that, but I don't think our systems are complete. For the majority of people, I'm just speaking, I don't think our systems are exactly there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason Estes was talking about that yesterday. He's talking about there's certain protein that runs through all of the molecular, whatever the makeup is of DNA or whatever the case is. And that it's in all of it, and, so I don't know. I haven't been eating a lot of meat, but in the last week or so, I'm eating that Moco Loco stuff every day.
Well, because I think what's happening is oh,
you're good.
Oh, good. Okay. I think what's happening is when there's a lot of wind stirring in the collective, we need something that's more anchoring. We need something that's more, and animal protein is going to do it. We need something to nourish the blood.
Yeah, man. Because I wiped out everything that I went and bought, the grocery store. I went to and bought, $60, $70 worth of stuff. Figured last me 10 days. I went through it like a rabbit on steroids, man. I mean, it was all greens and beans, and I'm just like wiping it out. And finally, I haven't even gone to the store. I'm just going up to this little store up here where they cook every morning, and I grab what I need. Period.
Yeah,
and
that's perfect.
Good. Yeah, I even had a what do you call it? Bratwurst yesterday. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm digging it. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right about this thing with the respect, because and I love this analogy that you're using, or the term you're using, the connotation of consumerism, because it's all about consumerism is all about intake. Really.
Yeah.
It's all about feeding this energetic mentality of self, but not selfless, but selfish, I guess, self-serving, and a copy's a copy. Why would our energy be any different than what we've been conditioned and raised and reared in? So we've got to unlearn that.
We definitely have to I think part of it is that we're very focused on taking in, and not as focused on how, like, what we're taking in, what we need to take in, what's soul aligned for us to take in, and then also giving back to what we're taking, like, to where we're taking in from.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like what comprises what I'm taking in, because it's not just the plant or the animal or whatever it is. It's all this stuff that's gone into it. It's the lineage. Last night I was told at one point, every fractal has what was it? Every fractal has its life story. And I said, what? They said, yeah, every fractal has its life story. So that's some of what we get, you know, is these past lives or memories or, you know, stuff like that.
Well, and it does. And I, you know, like, so I have a course right now that I'm offering that we're in the middle of it, I'm helping people to birth their modality from their soul. I'm going to differentiate because a lot of people will work with a coach and the coach will say, oh yeah, I can see you should do this. And this is how you do it. I'm actually not telling them what to do at all. I'm getting them a clearer connection so they can start building that, like from what they've cultivated. And what's been coming in is that there's important to work with the soul lineage, but also to honor the future of the lineage.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
What's not informed yet of the lineage. And it creates something so tangible. It's really amazing to feel, even if you just like, well, I would suggest to everyone who's watching, to activate your soul's energy in your physical body and ask your soul to activate one of your soul lineages in your physical body and to tune in and feel it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, like for it's like yeah. And then it's very interesting because I have a soul lineage with Saint Francis, so it's very tangible and it delivers a lot to me. But I also have star lineages. You have archangel lineages. I have Fae lineage actually. So you have a lot of these things. But if you don't acknowledge, and it's interesting to even ask who is the original lineage holder. Like, and to feel that energy, if you feel that, it's really wild. Like, it's so much fun because if you want to make a connection, it's almost like collapsing a timeline where you go right to the origin of the lineage. Who's the first person who embodied this lineage? Yeah. It feels amazing.
Right after I got here in late October, when I was on Anini Beach for like 6 weeks before Morgan got here, I had quite a few experiences, as you might imagine, with the island. And one of them, I didn't ask that question, but one of them, that's what it showed me. It was like laying in the bed. It showed me like the original body of the god goddess. And it went right in and said, this little cell, is where it started. And then it just kind of went boom, 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 boom. And everything came in. That, and the other thing that I think that's really powerful about what you're doing right now, this course you're doing or offering, is every time I've had, even when I didn't, not that I know anything now, but back in the early days, I didn't know anything. I didn't talk to anybody for 2 years. I didn't know. All I did was write. I didn't know anything about ascension, but every time something would happen, the past and the present and the future would all flatten to this moment. And I couldn't, and that's the only thing I could ever say about it. I just knew that I had grounded in that moment some information or something. So that technique, I think, is really powerful because we do tend to look to the past. And as far as I'm concerned, galactic is the past. Everything is behind us. You know what I mean? I guess we can connect with future self. There's no doubt about that. But I think that's a powerful way to clear that channel, is what you're saying you're doing.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of people make this assumption. They keep saying, like, Earth is galactic. Humans are galactic because we're part of a galaxy. And we need to start recognizing that we're galactic. We just are. It's just the way it is. We're just the densest formed consciousness that lives in this galaxy, at least that I know of right now. That can produce this kind of language and this kind of representation.
Yeah, and that's what we are doing. We're representing. Yeah, that's the old saying. I remember. No, I was just gonna say. I remember a few years ago writing some music or whatever, and I was channeling something galactic, probably because I didn't know it was at the time. And they were like, "You guys are the ETs that don't know their gods." I thought, whoa, I'm gonna put that in my song, right? But that was straight. I mean, that wasn't just for me. I'm sure that's available to everyone. But
yeah. And so I have to tell you, it's been like kind of poking me while the whole time we're talking. So have you heard of the night marchers here?
The
night marchers.
I think I heard about them. They're on a particular road or area. Is it? And they see them. They were like old native soldiers or warriors or something. Yeah.
Yes, they're actually coming in for the call, and which is interesting because I've only had them come in one other time, and I had I would say an interaction with someone where something just was off, and it's not someone who lives here, but they were visiting here, and the night marchers actually came, and they handed me one of those fuzzy little black pearls, or they actually left it for me, and they said, "We're taking care of this because this is a bigger problem. This actually is a problem for the island," and I was like, "Okay."
What were they referring to?
Something happened in that relationship that was and it was actually, and the person, or I would say it was two people, they were trying to do grid work here, and I didn't know. I had no idea that it was a bigger problem.
Yeah, they were taking care of business. They're the homeboys.
They're the homeboys, and I was really shocked. I had to check in. Like I checked in probably about 10 times because, I want to make sure I don't make stuff up, and, I have to be honest with myself.
What are you picking up now? Because I got to tell you, I had this place was filled up last night. I had the pillows over I don't usually do that. If something comes in, I readily engage, but I was like, I had the pillows over my face and I was like, leave me alone. Not now. And then I went to bed. And about an hour later, I woke up wide awake. Same thing's going on. I could feel a lot of masculine energy, and I felt a lot of energy, but I'm just wondering what's happening now. What are you hearing? Or can you tap in?
Well, yeah, because they've been sitting. I've been sitting here. They're like, we want to talk. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I had to check. I check in, especially with these kind of energies, only because a lot of people could. I've only been here since April. I'm a white girl. I'm not native to this island, but
check the energy is,
it's my lineage. It's part of the lineage.
Check
for
your
sure.
lineage, man. It's your physical appearance.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of okay, this is what they're talking about. So what they're saying is that there's a lot of fear coming into the collective right now. Like people are they're dumping a lot of fear, and it's important to understand that they're unconsciously dumping fear. So it's like there's like face your fears, face your fears head on, because people are afraid of the night marchers here. They are afraid. There's a bit, and I have no fear of them because I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not taking care of yourself physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and you have a lot of fear, like in any of those levels or something from another lifetime, they may show up to help you clear it. Yeah. Or they're gonna show up to let you know, like, what you're doing is. It's like, again, I go back to like the guardians. Like there's an integrity that has to be maintained.
Yeah. That's a true. These are true gangbangers, and I say that with all due respect.
Oh yeah, they're not to be messed with. So if you hear me very calmly talking about them, you have to understand one of the things is just because of the way I look, you don't. If I were to, so what I'm going to do right now is like actually, I'm going to transmit a little bit of like my soul's lineage of warrior energy just for people to feel. Yeah. And it's very different than how I present in the human form. So I'm actually transmitting it into the live so people can feel it and get a sense of it for themselves. And so one of the reasons I say that is because I'm aware of that. And there are times I can walk into a room and people have a reaction to me right away. And I know it's because of that energy. It's because they're not facing a big fear. And a lot of the times, so the other part is that people have issues with authority. We're being asked to be an authority within our own unit.
Self-authority.
Not self-authority.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're very masculine. It's very ordered. It's very structured. It's very, this is what it is. It's very boundaried, and they just mean business. And the thing is they're gonna clear it out. You may feel like they're cutting off a limb, but they're cutting off a piece that's like, man, this thing is screwing with you and the island, so we're getting rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's what I was getting last night.
No, I don't feel that exactly. But yeah, I'm just telling you what they're saying.
Yeah, I will tell you that. No. I mean, as far as who of the energy, but it's okay. So it's only been about 2 or 3 times that the energy has presented itself to me in 7 years where I was like, holy shit, what is that? And there always were, of course, a spirit guide or archangel or something. Last night was close. I wasn't scared. I was like, as soon as I walked outside, I felt it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm seeing those waves and everything. And I knew I was dealing with something. And I told Morgan, I said, if you'd have been with me, I think you would have gotten a little scared, because she tends to get a little scared. Let's deal with this at the house, as opposed to being outside in the darkness. But I got to tell you, it was powerful. I was tired. It was masculine. There were many, and it was very, very serious, right? It was a serious kind of overtone to it. So
what happens if you tune into your masculine lineage bloodline, but also tune into your soul lineage at the same time?
What happens if I do that?
Yeah. Well, how do you feel when you do that?
Well, so the way I got it was the masculine lineage would be like my incarnation now, which is popped in, popped out, predominantly. If I would have to say predominantly incarnated as a man, let's put it that way. In the most recent past, working in conjunction with a soul lineage, and the soul lineage would be more like a monad, soul, or maybe star system or star family or something, but came here with a specific mission to sustain like sacred wisdom. And in my role, basically serving that goddess energy.
So where is the masculine energy in the goddess?
Where is the masculine in relation to the goddess?
No, in the goddess. Goddess.
Oh, I would say that for me, it's more like where. Oh wow, that's a chicken and the egg thing. But to me, it's more like if the masculine in me opens its heart, she pops out.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that's chicken and the egg thing is because I can see where he's encased in her womb, basically.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. Yeah.
I believe goddess energy has a balance of feminine and masculine energy.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
And that the goddess can present, because she's a creator. So creator has to have both of those energies in order to create.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So then because what I'm being drawn, every time you talk about the waves, there's something on the other side of the waves. And when I tuned into the other side, that's why I asked you this question, because there's some meeting space between your masculine lineage and a soul lineage with this whole thing. It feels like it's streaming in.
There's some what between the two?
So
space.
Yeah, there's a meeting space. There's a threshold space, and it's like a doorway of understanding more. And so it's like it would be. I think it's really important for you to tune into that, because every time you talk about the waves, I'm on the. I want to go to the other side of the waves of where you're standing.
I just got that. See, and if you just said to me, where is your masculine in relation to your feminine, I would have gone, but you said masculine lineage in relation to your soul lineage. I saw it totally different. And now that you say that, I can see a space there that I didn't even know was there, basically.
Yeah.
It's time. Maybe my awareness is ready or whatever. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, yeah, this is just the way to play with. I believe we have to be in a specific line of inquiry. And so I usually get the question to ask you with the whatever components that will bring you into that connection. And it was, and I felt like the night marchers were just coming into support because they have that very ordered masculine energy, but they serve the feminine grounded earth. Like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fits to me. That fits. Like everything I know about, let's say my soul lineage is like recent history. So I don't know, what would you say, 1,000 years or something?
Yeah.
It's all pretty much a male incarnation serving like the Jesus Magdalene bloodline. You know, things like that, you know, this like protecting the sacred wisdom, protecting the priestesses, that type of thing, get my throat cut for it. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I feel that.
So, and maybe this lifetime is not about having to sacrifice your own physical life to do that. It's this time to honor your own feminine, and then to provide that guardianship in that very conscious way where you don't have to, again, you don't have to lay down your life.
No. Yeah. I was told that 5-6 years ago. I woke up 7 years ago, 7.5. And so Yeshua was one of the big, you know, 9 or 10 that I was dealing with. But he was the main one. He didn't come around very often, but when he would, it was impactful. And he said to me one day after about probably, I was walking about 1.5 years streets, and he came in and said, you know, you don't have to suffer anymore. Like, and I was like, because I really believed into that point. That's what love did. You sacrifice, you suffer, you know, and and from that day on, it took a while, but it got better and better, you know?
Well, it's interesting because you know, then if you take that to your family story, where was the suffering born in your lifetime in your own family? Like, because somewhere in that relationship, love equated to suffering.
Day one.
Yeah.
Day one, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you were raised Catholic, right? I was raised Catholic, so everything was. No, you weren't.
I wasn't.
Oh, you were.
I wasn't. Well, technically, I'm Jewish, but I did not engage in religion. At 5, the first day of Hebrew school, I quit. So I didn't associate with any religion.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I don't associate.
I was raised in a very dogmatic South Texas, Hispanic, extreme church services were in Latin, and everything was about admitting your sins and repenting and saying 16 Hail Marys and all that stuff. And
because you ain't right. You ain't right. You got to get right with the Lord.
That's when I moved up north to Dallas and then Baptist Belt. But right, yeah. Come on down and get saved.
Get saved. Yeah, it's interesting because you know, I've been my father died in 2007, and I do think about him a lot because he does support me on my journey, and but I can tell you that both my father and brother, you know, beat the crap out of me, like not on a daily basis, but I saw a spirit enter their body, and like they started really like beating me, and I had to fight my own.
Isn't that crazy though? I mean, I know what you're talking about because I've seen that happen. I've even seen it. I don't even want to say this, but I've seen it happen with family members closest to me.
Yeah.
And I wonder, in my worst times, even though my heart's always been what it is, I wonder in my madness on the street, you know, if something didn't jump into me. I wonder.
I think sometimes shit happens. That happens, but once you start really looking at yourself, it's harder for shit to jump into you. And you know, like you could tell, I don't have a lot of charge around that, but what that prepared me for on the higher level, when I look at it, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be able to do what I can do in the unseen or face those things. You know, like just for instance, I had a client, I had to help them because even in this day and age, people are still doing blood rituals. And I had to help them because someone in their family was engaged in a blood ritual. And you know, your blood is connected to your family members. So when you do a blood ritual, even today, you're engaging your other family members in that deal that you're creating.
Yeah.
And so I have to be able to go in and deal with like these energies. And I can't be in a space where I'm afraid of them. I have to just be able to be be neutral, you know, and just be comfortable. Otherwise, like, it's not like being tough, like as tough as that energy or as scary as that energy. Really, it isn't. Like there are times I have to meet them there, but I do it in a different way. It's not because I hate them or anything. It's because they can't see me unless I'm there like that, like the same way they are.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you get tough, at least that was my experience.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with a lot of non-physical energies when I first woke up the first couple of years.
Everyone does.
And I would be like, you know, I got it. Get out of here. Drive him out, you know. And I would, but they'd come back. They'd come back until I realized I had to, you know, I couldn't have that line of separation with them.
No, you have to have love and see like this. I put a post up and I thought it was so interesting about if you're cursing patriarchy while trying to awaken your matriarch or divine feminine, you're cursing your own masculine energy.
I saw that.
And someone said, well, this is a conflict because patriarchy is this. And she was kind of mansplained to me. And my husband does this to me all the time. And I'm like, okay, this is your conflict because I have to be able to see beyond the story that's been going on with patriarchy and label patriarch and I can't judge anything as less than divine. You can't at this point.
No. And that's in our face. And I think the last part of it fell. I'm going to use the past tense when this masculine energy started rising, probably January, February. And you hear less and less of the man bashing, and I hate to put it that way. I'm not picking on anybody.
No,
but that was a line of separation. So, like that's what was great about your post is that it said you're basically cursing yourself. It's kind of like somebody told me, it was Morgan told me one time that somebody told her that if you have an ex and you are, in other words, you're talking crap about the ex, you're basically damning your own kids, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're you're damning your own, and you know, energy is yang. So then you're just cursing energy itself. You're limiting your capacity for healing and for connecting to energy by doing that. And so it's really important to understand that we have to start, you know, unraveling our judgment.
Yeah.
And the judgment is this is more divine than this. And that's just absolutely not true. I don't care. I don't care if the biggest ass reptilian alien that's telling you it's going to do whatever it's going to do to you is in your face. You still have to see that as divine. Yeah. Like, honestly, you just have to.
I go through that exercise. I have for a long time. It actually happened to me one time in the cemetery I used to live next to. But yeah, it would always be, well, I'm sovereign. You're not going, you know, physically I may lose, but I'm eternal. And you know, when I first met him, I would say, but we've been through this before. I'm just going to come back and kick your ass. And then you're going to come back and do the same thing over and over. Or we're going to be at a middle ground. But I think that's in everybody's face right now. I think the mask have come off So not only are we seeing our own bullshit, but we're also seeing what is bullshit outside of us. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that right now. And it's moving very fast. And we're able to put it behind us if we want to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I laugh because a lot of people, like, they have this assumption with, like, everything's so easy for you. I'm like, it looks easy, but because I'm not sitting here bringing you into my conflict. I deal with it. I deal with my shit. Like, it'll come up into my face, and I have to deal with it. I'm not shit free, you know. It's not like I'm not bullshit.
I was talking about this last week. This has been happening like for 3 or 4 days straight. People would pop in my head, or I would pick up the phone and I'd see someone's face, and they're right in my face, and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. And then I'd say, okay, what is it? And then finally I just heard, look, you don't need to know what it is. Do you feel uncomfortable? I'm like, yes. Then just bring them, integrate, you know, equalize. And that's it. And then you can start, but it's funny because they weren't like heavy. They were just showing me these little bitty iotas that I was leaving out. Don't forget about this little bit. It's not, hey, I'm equal to you 99% of the time, but that little 1%, that little one thing, I'm better than you. Because if you think about it, inferiority or superiority, somebody's being given the the false higher ground, you know?
That comparison is just, to me, it's like, this is not. What happens is people get locked into comparison as they're trying to discover who they are.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, I definitely more clear than this person, or more clear. And you might be, but that doesn't mean you're superior. It doesn't mean you're better. You might be more clear. You might, in one area, in another area, you're like, you know, you're not you're kind of like effed up. So like, it's a joy of the human experience.
Right on. What I think is funny, or not funny, because it's happened to me. I see it happening to people right now. And that is that which they detest or disassociate themselves from, they are. Right?
Oh, yes.
I'm not that way, and so it's like, we may see that we're higher from our perspective, but that's only concerning the perspectives we're aware of, because we're not aware. And I would ask myself, and I'd even ask Morgan, why is this happening? Why is this person doing that? They're not aware. Well, what else is there? Like, I wasn't aware that it's possible that maybe I need to go to a tree and say, may I talk to you? May I share space with you? Until you said something. And I've been talking to him for 7 years.
Well, and they might be talking to you. Like, part of it is, it's like, okay, let's just have this connection. Like, so you're going to do that, and you're going to see a world open up. Like,
I believe that. I believe that.
Because yeah.
That's what I mean. But what you're saying is, once you become aware, everything changes.
Everything changes.
Everything changes. And that's kind of where I'm at with this whole trip now. Like, I am so done with talking about Trump and Q and this issue and that issue and all this stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, what game are we in? We're in this thing. We know what's gone down. We know who we are. We know we're divine. We know we're eternal. We know we have supernatural skills and abilities, alchemists, magicians, the whole 9 yards. Let's be that.
Yeah, let's be that in our human body, and be anchored into our human body, and just be that without having to. The other thing is, like, without having to prove it to anyone else, to validate yourself, to run someone else over with your alchemy because you need to feel better about yourself. Like, whatever it is, just be it, just offer it. And part of it is this, it's in an unattached way. Yeah. Like, that's the hardest thing. Like, You know, most of the time I'm working with clients and I'm like, you have to stop trying to run into the building to save humanity, like the burning building, because those people aren't asking you to help them. You know,
Did you write that one today too?
No, I didn't write that one.
I saw one today and somebody said, like something to the effect of, when you figure out that you don't have to help that person, just go help yourself, or something like that. It was the whole thing about, you know, focus on yourself, row your own boat kind of deal.
Well, because my theory is, if you have if you have that bleeding heart desire to save everybody, or every time something happens to someone, you've got to rush to help them, it's because you're avoiding whatever discomfort that thing is bringing up. And you need to go to yourself first before you go into a situation where someone is, you know, like bleeding out. You know, like if you're bleeding out and the other person is, you got to help yourself first.
Isn't it amazing how simple this has all become? Like you said a minute ago, we complicate this stuff too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that complicated. It's really not that complicated. It's not easy because we've not come from easy. But the more I get into it, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's just a real simple blurb. It's not like this big long paragraph. It's just blurb, you know.
Well, yeah, and I'm beginning to write a book that's it's like the instruction manual to connect to your soul, because I have this simple structure to do it. What gets in the way is our old stories, our emotional, the thoughts, the detox that has to happen first. People don't understand that when you start to awaken, there's a detox, and in order to discern, you have to know you have to understand what's yours and what someone else's, and you start to go through that process. But once you can understand that, and you know the right questions to ask to position yourself or align yourself in your body, you'll be in this space where you're just kind of this vortex of drawing in everything that supports your pure essence being expressed through you.
That's what I see happening for all of us. It seems like that something's changed, something really, really recently too, like something really shifted, and the reciprocation it's like an alignment. You know, it's like there's something not holding us back anymore. Like there's a clear channel, and whatever's aligned with you in your heart is coming to you, and just, you know, like let go. You know, like, let go.
The new age false light bubble has burst. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, right. yeah. Fluffy love and light.
Yes, fluffy love and light. Hashtag blessed.
Right? Yeah, man. It's like, you know, where's your darkness? Show me something real.
I just watched like one of the Avengers movies, and I love Tony Stark said this, and he says, I don't trust someone who doesn't have a dark side.
Exactly.
Like, I love that quote, because it's true. You have to acknowledge that you have a dark side, and that's, you know.
Absolutely. And it may not look the same. Some people look, right before Morgan left, she went through a little 2-day period where it's like sadness, like she was dealing with it before, right? And I'm like, I'm cool, you know, I ain't got no problem, you know. And then something happened to me, and I freaked out, and I hadn't freaked out in a long time. And I mean, I was like, I threw something, and I yelled a little bit, and I was like, what was that, you know? But what I loved about it was that I was in a space that I drew to myself. If I want to individualize it, I wasn't judged. It was seen for what it was, and we just move on, like bounce off, move on. Of course, you know. But if you don't acknowledge that dark side, that's the feminine side. Then you're cursing your feminine side. It's the holy darkness, man. It's the whole. And then for me, it's like, well, you know, like if you are on that path to awaken, and you keep saying that you are, but you're not looking at that darkness, let me tell you, it's going to build up, and it's going to bite you in the ass. You know what a clear sign is? A clear sign to me is, hey, how you doing? Are you all right? I'm good. I'm great. You know, everything. I'm great. Like, I see that now, because I used to do it, and I actually had a conversation with a friend today, and I was like, how's it going? Oh, I'm great. And within 5 minutes, all the
hell broke loose, right?
Yeah, and then they wrote me a note later, and they're like, "All right, I'm getting back on this horse," you know. Da, da, da. But yeah, that's a big one, you know. And see, it's funny too because Morgan used to call me all the time. You know, she'd come to visit once, we'd separate, kind of visit, and I didn't know the first 2 times after she left, I spun out. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought I was just raising hell, you know, having a little fun, whatever. And she would always say, "So, how you doing?" So, and I'd say, "I'm good. I'm good." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm good. I'm good." That's a telltale sign. Right? Yeah.
I love that. Well, there's also the other side of it, where the person that's always like, "Oh, I'm tired, and this happened, and that happened."
like Eeyore on Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, I love Eeyore. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing? What are you doing on the full moon?
When is the full moon? I think I'm going to be I'm going to be.
When are you leaving?
I'm leaving Tuesday night.
Oh,
so I'll be in New Jersey actually during the full moon.
Jersey. Is the full moon that quick? What is today?
I think it's
no, we still got a ways. It's next Thursday. Well, 1 week from today.
Well, then now I'll be in New Jersey.
Oh, you'll be in Jersey. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next day I fly out to Egypt.
Man, you're a freaking baller, man. You're going to go load up on family, full moon, equinox,
and Egypt.
And then you're going to fly across the ocean to go to Egypt. Well, I'll pray for you.
Yeah, please do, because that if like basically it's like Egypt is upon me, and it's interesting, and it's also inspiring me too. I looked at, the whole thing with Facebook went down yesterday, and that was great. I was like, okay, everybody, restructure your relationship with Facebook so you're in the command seat with it.
Yeah.
So that you're not at the mercy of its agenda or algorithms, and you can when it's having an issue, just reset it. Yeah. And but I got something interesting also about that, which and now it just went completely from my head. It went completely out of my head.
That's happened so many times in the last week on the show with me or the other person.
Yeah, it's just completely, but it had to do with Egypt. So, yeah, who knows what Egypt's gonna? I know I have an idea of what it's bringing, what it's what I need to retrieve there, and then I have some ideas that I know I don't know. Exactly, there's other stuff that's going to come from.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get in touch with you, so I can reach out to your friend, the one you told me about. So I can reach out.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because I'm booked. I mean, I think till Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, because it's the full moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe I can get into something then, because it's.
Well, if you want a deeper connection with nature, that's the way to go.
That's what I'd like to explore. At least explore it. I've met a couple of people here, but it's not like, and I don't know. This last 10, 12, 14 days has been me time. I mean, I haven't had a choice. I'm like, broadcast, go to sleep. Broadcast, go to eat. It's like I'm up, I'm down. I'm up, I'm down. But I can't do it. I couldn't do anything else. It was like taking everything I had out of me. It's like my body was burning up from the inside. And
and I was going to reach out to you to say, do you need anything? Do you want to go out? And I got the message. He's completely, I saw you. It was my soul said he's completely, this is what he's doing. He's got no room to do anything else in these next days.
But I would, if you're going to be, today's Thursday. Yeah. If you're going to, maybe we get together for Elvis pancakes or Elvis.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been eating so much, man. I'm like, I'm measuring my stomach at night, because I'm just like, no, man. Yeah, I look like that. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I have put some food away, man. God, but I wake up and it's like gone. It's like my stomach's fairly flat. It's like, what is happening? I can smell metal on my body. Like, you know what I mean? Like something's coming out of my pores. I don't know.
And sometimes when you have to push something out, you need something you need that extra sustenance to push it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to get together and just, talk to a human being.
That would be awesome. All right. You just let me know.
Or two human beings. Yeah. Or two human beings.
Oh, you should come to, Anne-Marie Holmes, who lived in Findhorn in Scotland, and she does feng shui on the island. She's doing a talk Saturday at Hot Yoga Princeville that I'll be at, and you might want to meet her.
Well, hit me up. Yes,
I'll hit you up. I'll get
Saturday night. Yeah, I think
Saturday.
I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm open on Saturday night. I'm pretty sure.
I think from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll hit you up. I'll give you the deets.
All right. Give me the deets, man. All right.
All right, my dear. I love you too. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you too. All right. Bye.